What is up, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Camera Junkie livestream. My name's Luis, also known as Mr. Camera Junkie, where I remind you, as always, to upgrade your skills before your gear. And as we're talking about gear, a little precursor to what we got going on. Just to let you know, I've been packing because I am getting ready for a move. And in that, I came across a bag filled with vintage lenses that I had completely forgotten about. And if you're anything like me, then you're a person that's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. And that's exactly what happened. I packed them up nice and neat. I even packed some up in like plastic wrap to like prevent from moisture, and I totally forgot about them. And as I started to uncover the first lens and started going through it, I said, you know what? I want to share it with the crew. So we're going to go through it together. I'm a little like excited because I always have fun. These are things that I know I bought and have a story behind all of them, but we're going to go through them together to see exactly what I have in the bag and what I forgot about. Well, with that being said, as tradition goes around here, the first thing that we do is go ahead and check out to see who are the first members of the Camera Junkie crew hanging out in the chat. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. And right off rip, we have Mr. Parker Jennings, as always, saying hello to everyone. Thank you for hanging out. Also, we have Carlos in the house, Bouquet Bushido, saying hey to the fam. We got Randy in the house saying hello to everyone. We also got Ernesto, my favorite tech, saying hello and happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to you. And also let me know what you guys are drinking. Me, as always, going with the Monster Green, the original. Get a sip of this. But let me know what's your beverage of choice tonight as well. And Carlos is saying bago lenses. Exactly. Yeah, giddy is the word. Giddy is the word that I'm feeling with this. I guess you can see it in my face. And with that being said, let's go ahead and find out. All right, so which bag? This is a Manfrotto bag. So this is a nice little bag to have forgotten about. So this is my Manfrotto bag. And as you can see, like nice and wrapped up. Even the excess of the like strap, I wrapped it up in the plastic wrap, and I found it in the deepness of my closet as I was, pulling things out and getting things going. So we're going to go through that together. Let me just go ahead and check some of these comments out as well. 34 Media saying morning to you as well. I like the avatar. Those little like toy figures that everybody's been doing on ChatGPT, those things are the best. We also got Gretchen in the house saying H2O. She's drinking on that water, like some people say water. And Ernesto's drinking some coffee. I was thinking about coffee because FYI, I'm trying to lean off of the Monster energy drinks as like my soft drink of choice. One of the things that I've gotten into is still a Monster. It's the Monster Java, the coffee ones as well. So I have the Java, the Mean Bean, I think it's called Mean Bean or Java something. But I buy them through Amazon the same way that I get these Monsters. So at least it's something to give me a little bit of difference. So now I've added Monster coffee to the mix as well. And Randy says instant coffee. I'm surprised you don't have a McDonald's frap. It's been a while. I haven't had a frap from McDonald's. And I'll tell you the truth, it's been years. And this is something that I'm proud of. Years since I've eaten McDonald's. Let me make sure that I'm not putting my foot in my mouth. Actually, you know what? Was it last year? I think it could have been the year before that. Miss D Miss Diana Gladney. We were on a late night at Creator Camp, and she bought some McDonald's, so I ate McDonald's. But the last time that I went there myself has been years, because it's not the healthiest food. But I'm probably gonna swing by to get me one of those frappuccinos, because coffee's coffee no matter what. But let's get into this, guys. I really want to tear into it. I saw one of the lenses, but now I'm just gonna share that with you guys as well. Let me go to my overhead shot, make sure it's still working. Top down, bam, there we go. Pardon the mess, sorry, I got junk everywhere. Look at all this. USB cables. I didn't do too much of cleaning, well, none at all, as you can see. QR code, if you need it, bam, you just throw that up there. And let me see how this shot is looking, where I can place the microphone. You know what? I don't need the keyboard right now. Okay, let's put the mouse over here, right? Okay, and this is looking pretty good. Like my branding. That looks so great on the top down, just realizing it now. All right, so let's go ahead and see what I got in my vintage bag here. All right, the first one that I had already seen, which was the first one that I grabbed, is this old puppy right here. Now this is a vintage, my favorite focal length, 50 millimeter. It's my favorite all around. You know, and my favorite lens of all time, some of you might have heard me say, is my 55 millimeter Zeiss for the Sony. It's just, every time I use it, whether for video or photos, I just love all the photos that come out of it. Now, am I getting some mildew in here? Oh no. Let's see. It looks like I'm gonna have to do some cleaning. I'm not sure if that's like some oxidation there on the corner. But hey, that's what happens when you forget about some lenses. Right? So let's take out the back. This is an M42. For those of you who are not aware, this is just a simple 42 millimeter thread that a lot of vintage cameras, photography cameras use. The cool part about it is that you can find inexpensive adapters for the majority of mirrorless cameras into this thread, and you're able to use them as just a traditional standard manual lens instead of autofocus. So great for photography if that's what you're looking into, but then also as far as cinema goes, you can get really good images out of it. As you can see, it's got a nice wide aperture. This is an f1.7, so decently fast, 55 millimeter, a Yashica Japanese lens. I'm gonna take a look at it through the light. Yes, it's unfortunate, but it does look like that is some mold growing on it, which is the worst thing that you want to have happen. Right here, it's on the glass, it's not on the metal. Now I think it's coming from the metal, or it could be affecting both, but that's unfortunate for me right now. I'm gonna have to give this some TLC. So good thing that I came across it. But this is also an amazing lens. It's very sharp. Yashinon DX. And this is another thing, FYI, for those of you who might be looking into getting into like some vintage lenses, everything in the bag here is full frame compatible, because that's all you had when it came to film. Right, like you just had full frame film, 35 millimeter. So all of these focal lengths are your traditional, no added like math having to be done on them. And if you have a full frame camera, then you will be able to cover the entirety of that sensor without any problems on any of these lenses. So this one's a good one, but now I'm just gonna continue to, you know, go on to the next one before I get to cleaning this lens on the spot, because that's what I feel like doing. I feel like, you know, going into, you know what? This. Okay, so I got the Q-tip, but now where's the alcohol? Just to start the treatment. I'm not gonna clean the whole thing, but I just, you know, get things going. Okay, here we go. Alcohol, 91%. Isopropyl. I think I said that right. All right, and I'm just gonna take a Q-tip. Just get the process started right around the rim. And I'm just gonna let that sit. We'll see what it looks like towards the end of the stream. Hopefully that starts working and reversing that right away. Another tip when it comes to vintage lenses and getting rid of mold and mildew that could be building up on them, I mention all the time, is to actually not put them away like I did here and forget about them. That's number one. And second, actually put them out in some direct sunlight on a window sill, you know, or the ledge right there, and allow the sunlight to pass through them, and just give them a day, maybe two, to just like soak up as much sun as it possibly can, and let the light kind of dry up any humidity that could be inside, that will thus eliminate any future, you know, mold issues. But now I'm gonna unwrap this guy here. Oh, and I'm seeing what it is, and I'm thinking I know why I wrapped it. I don't think you guys are hearing the unwrapping ASMR because of crisp, but I'm enjoying it. And yes, this is my Minolta lens. Now this is a kit lens that came with a Maxim Minolta camera. And yeah, as you can see, I had to do a little bit of a modification on the inside there. I just glued in a little plastic piece. Focus. There we go. Right? Just because it had broken. So it wasn't giving any force to actually keep the lens cap on it. But it easily falls off. That's why I wrapped it. But this is a Minolta kit lens. Once again, this is a Minolta, for those of you who don't know, was actually bought by Sony. So that's where they kind of jumped in with some know-how. That entire company was kind of consumed by Sony, and then that became the Alpha division from the first ones. But this is a 28-90, and I believe it's a variable aperture. Yeah, this is a 3.5 to 5.6, nothing major, but a good kit lens. And I'm gonna see what I can do with these lenses now, because another thing is that FYI guys, I just realized today that it had been over a month, straight up over 30 days, that I have not visited my previously favorite website, Maker World. Where was I? That's where I was getting all of my 3D prints from. And now with FCAD and my new skill, there's literally nothing that I don't jump into that program and just make from scratch, grab my calipers, get a couple of things, and in no time, it's pretty ridiculous right now, but in no time I'll have my idea fully flushed out into FCAD, and I've already sent the file over to print. So anything that I could imagine, I just get it done. And if it's something that I was like, hey, you know what, I missed this and I should have added it, now that I'm putting it into practical use, so then I just go back to the file, add that in FCAD, and then right away send it to print, and it's done. And I'll give you an example of that in a bit. But lens number 2 in the mystery bag is my Minolta kit lens, the 28-90 f3.5 to 5.6. All right, where did I put the first one? Okay, I put it off to the left. Just keep these organized. Oh, that's right. This is the one we're going to try to fix. All right. Let's see what's next on the list. Ooh. And what you'd be surprised is that like the type of imagery that you can get, and the cool part about all of these lenses is that they're not that big, right? These are not that big, especially when you're talking about manual lenses. You don't need a lot of electronics, if at all. And with that, you're able to save a lot of space and get the same type of imagery from a much smaller package. Like I said, all of these are most likely going to be manual lenses from back in the day. This is a Nikon. Okay, so let me make sure that I got that right. Yep, definitely looks Nikon or Nikon. Old school Nikon. This is, ooh, I don't even know the brand. It's not even on there. Let's see, Sears. Sears. You know how old this lens has to be? Like this is a trip, because most people don't even know, like, you know, that company is no longer around. But that Sears actually had, like, you know, they would buy, this could have been, that's a Nikon mount, right? So I don't know if it was licensed through them, if this is a completely different mount that I'm jacking up. But regardless, this was a Sears lens from a Sears film camera. Sears, like where you would get Craftsman tools from. So let me see if I could show you the branding. You see, it's made in Korea. Let's see if we can get it to focus. Focus. There you go. Sears. Model number 202 with serial Korea. Variable aperture, so it does change with the zoom, because how satisfying is that? A push and pull zoom. That's so dope. How fast you can go. 28 fully extended and 70 all the way in. Man, look at that. I need to clean that off. It's just, I'm sorry I forgot about these lenses, guys. All right. Doesn't look like we're dealing with any mildew or anything like that. But definitely, man, this looks Nikon or Nikon. All right. So another one to mess around with. And you know what? I forgot why I had even mentioned the 3D printing part in the first place. And it's because of the fact that I can now 3D print like adapters for all of these. Like, even if it doesn't exist, I can just now look at this, get the thread pattern. As soon as I got it, I'll make an extension and finish it off on E-mount, and then start messing with the, you know, the distance, the flange distance. If I can't find it online, you know, I'll be able to make this into a macro lens, because if I wanted to, I can make, you know, macro lens extension tubes and get this mounted onto my cameras, but then push it out even further. So infinite possibilities, and that's what I'm really getting excited about, especially finding all of these old lenses with my newfound skills. Let me see what you guys are saying. Bacon and cheese, coffee, and hash browns. Randy's talking about food over here. Let me move my face. All right. Says, same here. Last time I was at McDonald's, it took my grandson there on his last day of kindergarten, says Gretchen, over a year ago. Randy says, since I returned, I have not eaten McDonald's breakfast, which was actually like the best part of McDonald's food lineup to me. Like, if I were to eat McDonald's, it would be probably one of those bacon, you know, steak sandwiches that I used to get from back in the day, because those are tasty. You know, that's the quarter pounder to me, man. Like, it's not worth eating it at McDonald's because there was no flavor. Like, and if you don't get cheese on it, there's literally no flavor. So we got Paul in the house saying greetings. We also got JP, Jerome Peak, saying what's up to the fam and to me. Gretchen says, We still have Sears aluminum tripod that we bought in 1978. That is so cool. And the thing is, I have a Sears film camera, so I know that that's where this came from. So, all right, that's number 3. All right, let's see what's next in here. Oh, ooh, I remember this one. Now, check this out. This is a little monster. This guy is like a secret weapon. Okay, I'm out of frame myself. Okay, this guy's like a secret weapon. Okay, because this is full manual, but this is one that I had to have adapted. So now look on the back. This was Canon. But I don't even remember what mount this is originally. This is a Yashica. Look at how small this is. And we could really, like, I can come over here and show you, like, 72 millimeters top to front. This is not a zoom lens, but this is 135 millimeter 2.8. Do you know the speed on this bad boy? If you had a 135 f4, you're getting bokeh up the wazoo. But at 2.8, you're talking about invisible backgrounds. Like this as a portrait, it just nullifies whatever. You can be in the straight hood. If you got light behind it, it's gonna just make it colors. I'm like, it doesn't matter where you're at. This is gonna make photos look amazing. Take a look at the amount of light that's passing through there just on top there. This thing's amazing, and it was so good. It has a speed booster, hello, on this thing that gives it even more light. And then adapted to Canon. And Jarrell's probably like salivating right now. He's like, yo, let me borrow that because he's a Canon fanboy. You and Gretchen will get along amazingly. But then, right? Take a look at this. Oh my goodness. Like the weight and feel of this is amazing. So I've taken this and I put it on my like my Metabones adapter. I have a newer one over here that I could just kind of demonstrate. I think. Let me take this tape off of this. Oh yeah, I had showed you guys this. This thing I 3D printed to attach to my telescope did not work. And it makes sense as soon as I put it on there, and I was like, oh, of course, there's no optics on here. And this is made for the spot where, you know, it's an actual optic that you have to attach to get, you know, clear visibility on my telescope. But I digress. Let's take this off because this didn't work. And you see, this is just an adapter, Canon to Sony. And now we kind of double adapt on this guy. Bam. And now we have a 135 f2.8 for Sony. So now it's good, right, Jarrell? Jarrell says, haha, I have one in the office. Okay, so you have this lens? See, like this is a secret weapon. This thing, oh, an amazing little lens right here. And I'm gonna have some fun with these lenses, man. Because now instead of doing all this, I'm just gonna actually go measure this flange distance here and most likely just create an adapter so that has less. Oh, actually no, that's a speed booster, so no, I could just use it like this. This works. I might just leave all of these pieces together because the fact that this guy didn't work here at all, I could definitely use this. So, hey, giving it new life, giving it new purpose. So, fun with that. All right, let's see what else we got in the bag. What's our time? 10:30? Okay, we're doing it again. Once again, don't even know what mount this is. This could be Minolta. What do we have here? This is a macro lens. Interesting. Kalimar, Japan. This is an 80 to 200 millimeter, and it's a variable aperture f4.5 to 5.6. Now, to be honest with you, 5.6 at 200 millimeters, once again, you're getting crazy amounts of bokeh, especially for photography. So this is just be great, especially for like outdoor photography, right, and videography, where you're gonna have plenty of light, and you might even want to stop it down just to control your exposure, you know, just in case. But anything past like 130 150 millimeters, even with a limitation of f5.6 f6.3, you're still gonna get what we call bokeh in those images. Don't be fooled. Bokeh has to do with the amount of light that you allow in. So if you're in studio with those limitations, you might have to crank up the lights to get that effect, but you can still get it. Nonetheless, if you use it outdoors, then you're just golden, because you'll be getting great images. Like the most iconic images that we have throughout history were shot on film in much lesser optics than what I have all throughout this bag. So don't let that be a limitation. So an f4.5. Oh, but you know what? Damn, that's why. Check this out. It's a variable. Does it change? Okay, yes it does. Yes it does. It's just explaining it. All right. So if you extend it all the way out, you will get that natural, because even though it's wide open, it will convert. So I was thinking, can it hold the 4.5 all the way through? But at that distance, you will get like a shrinkage of the image, so to speak, of the light passing through. So Kalimar is not a brand that I'm really familiar with, and I don't remember the results if I ever used this lens. But now that I have it in my hands, I'm gonna put it through the test. Not that heavy, full metal construction, but you know, to be honest, one of the lighter ones that I've held so far. Probably less glass inside. Okay, so that was number 5. Look at how many lenses we got in this bag. All right, what do we got here? Another set of adaptables here. I think I have multiple adapters here. Yeah, if I'm correct, this is my Canon FD. See how old these lenses you know, at least 5 years. At least 5 years. I forgot about them, if not longer, because I think these were already bagged before I moved into this place. So, all right. So this is a 28 millimeter to 85. And then I think it has a macro feature, as you can see. Let me see if we can show you. Focus. There we go. Close focus. At 85 millimeters, I can press this button down and then squeeze out a little bit more, right? And that squeezing out is actually going to make you lose focus, but now it'll probably give you a completely different range for macro. And this is a Tokina 28 to 85, 3.5 to 4.5. So 4.5 at that, you know, macro close focus range. Interesting AF, even though it's manual. And you know what? I gotta be honest, like the cool part about the majority of these lenses that I love is all the inscriptions on it. Like everything has been milled in, and you know, like it's very colorful, color coded, not coordinated. Listen to me. Color coded, you understand, to let you know exactly what you're dealing with. You see like all the information so that you know exactly which ones you're focusing, from the 28s all the way to the 85. And all this, like, it just feels so good to fidget. Yeah, I think, oh, there we go. Okay. Yes, this adapter, you see? Like, I was trying to figure out the aperture. I'm like, it feels like it's not even working at all because it wasn't. Needed to actually like lock this into place. So if you can see that it's open, as soon as this, let me get a better view, right? There's this little nub in there. Is that, well, I guess like a little screw. And as soon as you click this into place, it closes the aperture from auto to manual control. And now we're getting the clicks and we're getting the control. There we go. Nice. All right, so fully functioning, but this is Canon FD. So I'll see what I can do with this as well, because this is going to need to get adapted again. Man, I don't even know where this came from. 62 millimeter, filter thread. Man, I just ran a blank sometimes. Let's see what you guys are saying over here. I just see David sneaking in here. Says 34 Media says my favorite lens is still my 8-bladed Super Takumar f1.4. I love the Super Takumars from the early 70s on my R6 M2. It looks amazing. A heap of character. Absolutely. The Takumars are just phenomenal lenses for me. I have two in the M42 thread, and well, they're in boxes right now. They were on display before. Love the Super Takumars. Jero says it's dope. I have a Vivitar copy and a Canon copy of the 135. You see? And they're probably the same because, back in those days, they were the same companies. Like I have a Quantaray lens, and it's basically it's a Sigma because that's who was making Quantaray in those days. I'm getting a A-OK from 34 Media. Gretchen, Canon FD. I still have my Canon FD 50mm f1.4 and my Canon EF. Those are great. I still have the 1.4 50mm for the EF, and that one's adapted, and that was the one lens that I couldn't get rid of from my fleet of lenses when I transitioned from Canon. Let me get something to drink here. Not for nothing, but I'm liking the way that it's looking like the microphone under my face. It looks like a streak for whatever reason. You see this? Look at that. Hell yeah. That looks nice. All right. And then we have David in the house saying hello, hello. We're going through my bag of vintage lenses that I totally forgot. Just straight up forgot. Which one didn't I put a backing to? This one. But that's a Sony now, so we need to get the Sony mount. There we go. It's official. It's official. Bam. Okay, let's see what we got here. This is not giving me much. This is another one. Okay. Oh no, there's the Sears one. I already looked at this one. Wait. Do I have two? No, the first Sears one was a... Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I'm kind of losing my mind right now. The first Sears lens was a zoom lens. Oh man, this is tripping me out right now. All right, let's see. This is a... Oh no, so I was right. Okay. Here we go. This is the Sears zoom lens. Okay, I'm not losing my mind. Good thing, especially not on a live stream, right? That would be kind of bad. We just talked about the Tokina, right? I went and talked about this one that I readapted, and now in here, on top of this one, which is the Yashica, it was like Jarrell was preempting this. This is a Sears. See, for the same camera, mod 202 or model number 202. So that definitely had to be the camera that we're talking about. So it's got to be a Sears model 202, and this is just a 135, and it has a macro zone. Are you kidding me? Okay, let's see. See if we can get the insignias in there. Focus. Make sure. Okay, see, 100 f 135 focal length, 135 millimeter, 52 millimeter filter thread, and over to the left on the top side of the ring, 1/2.8, a 2.8 solid consistent f 135, multicolored auto exposure, because that's the only thing that was auto back in the day, not autofocus. And this is the same Sears set of lenses. Look at that. That is pretty. Nothing except just glass. Now that's dirty as hell. Let me. Much better. Not ideal, but much better. Look at that. And you can see clearly in the back, 6-bladed aperture. So not like, you will see that shape. You will see the hexagon shape in the bokeh. If not wide open. Hence, because if it's wide open, all you're gonna see is that circle. But now, once again, this is also, see if we get comparison. This one's a little taller. The other one was 72 without adapted. And right now this one's 84, 85 millimeters. And just dope. Let's see here if we could show you. That is so cool, man. Look at that. Macro zone. It's up here. Tell me that's not dope as hell. Damn. I need to use this lens. Yo, as soon as you get here, you're able to click these. And it's telling you the differences. What? That is so cool. That's nice. As I always say, glass before ass. Optics are always more important than the camera body. Joe's got a message here. Let's go ahead and put that up here. He says, I have a Minolta MD mount 50mm f1.4 lens that my dad bought back in the mid 70s. Manual focus and the aperture, of course, but it works fine, adapted to my current Canon cameras, and it's the best. Dude, that's what I love about mirrorless, like, is this fact that I'm still able to use all of these lenses. So far we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lenses. And okay, we're on the final run because 9 lenses that I completely forgot about. It's a trip. All right. So what we have here, another brand that I'm not really familiar with. See, Super Ozek auto zoom, but we're dealing with an 80 millimeter, 80 to 200 f 5.5. So 200 f 5.5. That's actually not too bad. Ooh, gravity. She's well worn in, as you can see, just by holding her straight up. The focus ring or the zoom definitely goes down, but when you hold it horizontally, you'll be fine. So it starts at 80, but it's set to 200, right? So 135, and I guess all the way is 200. Pretty interesting. f5.5. I'm not familiar with which mount this is. I'm gonna have to do some researches because this is stuff that I literally forgot. Like, I don't remember which cameras they came from. .49 millimeter filter thread size. So, you know, the barrel, you know, diameter is not too girthy, so to speak. And this also has a macro. Over? How do we get into the macro? Hold on. There is this line here that is leading us to the color coded, you know, stuff here. Let's see here. Not sure. I'm gonna do just an eyeball test. I gotta tell you something that I just noticed off of this lens, which is probably the craziest thing that I've ever experienced while ever doing what I just did to a lens. I was able to see my fingerprint, and it was right side up. It was so distinct. That is the weirdest thing that I've ever seen on a lens. What is this? What kind of wizardry? How is that possible? Whoa. Let's come on, zoom out. Obsbot is tripping right now. Come on. Is it the other one? Come on, you can do it. Okay, hold on. I have to get into the Obsbot center. That's so funny. It just totally zoomed in because, but I hope I'm able to like convey what I'm talking about. All of these lenses, whenever I put like, you know, the image so that you can see what's in on the background, right? Like, if I could explain, everything comes in backwards. You're seeing everything in reverse, right? Here, let's see if we can get the Obsbot to come through, right? Like, if I'm able to macro it. Oh, that's coming in straight as well. What? Always backwards, right? Am I losing my... The image would always come in upside down. No? Something's up today, but we're gonna march on. Maybe I am completely talking out of my ass, because now I got two lenses that are giving me right side up. I'm able to read right off of it. Not even gonna worry about it. I could be creating my own Mandela effect. So I'm gonna put on the tinfoil hat and I'm gonna continue. Let's go back to Osborne. Let me know what you guys think. Am I losing it? Thumbs up or thumbs down? All right. Which camera am I on here? This is the Meet SE. And let's zoom out. There we go. Bam. Back to the regulars. All right. So this is a Ozek Auto 80-200 f5.5 with some macro capabilities, well broken in, and gotta mess around with this to see exactly what we get out of it. All right, let me see if that's the one for that. Yep, PK was for this one, I think, if I got it right. Good enough. Okay, and now last but not least, it says Nikon, and this is a Vivitar. Yep, for Nikon. So this also a zoom lens, a 70-210. So this one just has a 10 more millimeters of reach. f4.5. So this, once again, this is a dope Bokeh-licious lens. 4.5 at 210. That is bokeh for days. That is massive amounts of light passing through. See, all the lenses are going right side up. I'm gonna hold my tongue to see exactly what. Dusty guy. Clean up some of this dust, but this is a Vivitar 52mm filter thread, macro lens as well, macro focusing. Oh man, that's cool. You can feel it. Okay, so let me see if I can convey that. You see how smooth it looks as far as the rotation? Right here at the bottom, you're gonna see a color code that goes focus, right? That goes from like the standard. As soon as it hits the 5.5, it has this MR, right? Macro range. And as soon as you get into it, like the lens gets a lot tougher as far as the focus range goes, because it's letting you know that obviously you're gonna be in the macro focusing. So I guess the increments of it's got to be a little bit more specific, right? Or just a bit tighter. So for that reason, you have that ability. But like, if I could show you, I'm putting the same amount of tension, right? And as soon as it gets there, it tightens up and it slows down. As soon as it reaches that point, it lets go. But these are so cool. These are just, I guess I put all my push to zoom lenses here because as a photographer, this is actually one of the most convenient ways that I feel that we used to have to zoom, right? Like the camera here, and you know, you just want to get tighter on the shot. You're just like pulling in and you're not losing your focus at that moment. And another thing about these old school lenses that I haven't checked any of these obviously, but a lot of them were parfocal. And if you've never heard of that term, let me just explain it as best I can real quick. Meaning that if your subject was in focus at 70 millimeters and you got it in focus, if you were to rack into like 100, 135, you really didn't have to refocus because the focal plane would not move from where you had it. You're just zooming in almost like a digital crop, right? Like the photo is in focus, but now you're just cropping into that aspect. But the background would change as far as the bokeh that you would actually get out of your image would change in that aspect, especially from 135 to something here to like 150, 170, 200 to 10, right? You're adding a lot more depth of field or separation from the background to get what we call bokeh. So that would be amazing at that point, but also just very convenient to go, you know, and go from 210 to 70 instead of having it to be rotational. Oh, Supreme Boy says brand with a question mark, and this one's a Vivitar. It is for the Nikon AI mount, so I could attach this to any of my Nikon cameras easily, and it would just be attached as a manual lens. So this can go onto like my 5100D, right? No, I think Nikon was the one that, so D5100. Just the way my mind works, just to explain, the Nikon puts the letter marker in front of the numbers and Canon does it after. So the Canon is the 5D, and hypothetically Nikon would be the D5, right? But no, so the D5100, which is the camera that I have, I'll be able to throw this lens right onto it, even though it's Vivitar, and get all of this functionality out of it. Will I? Because it has the AI, you know, aperture. So I would have to check. But I do believe I have a mount adapter for it that goes on it right here and just kind of opens the aperture so that we can control it manually, right? Oh no, reverse. I don't have to touch it. There we go. This is not like the rest. This is where the auto exposure happens. Oh yeah, I remember how these work. You can set your aperture, right? Because you know what the final shot was gonna be look like, or what you wanted the outcome to be. But what you would actually do is like you'd be able to kind of half press the shutter, and this is a film camera. And what it would do is actually like it wouldn't open the shutter or like release the shutter, and the mirror, I just forgot, like I was like DSLR, the SLR, the single lens reflex mirror that these cameras have, it wouldn't release it and take the picture. What it would do, it would literally just open up the aperture. So if you were in a dark environment, right, it will allow as much light through as possible, right, for that half press. And what that would do is that would reflect directly onto your viewfinder so that you can see it. And because you were in a, you know, like closed environment with the viewfinder, it would allow as much light so that you can see it as clearly as possible, so that you can focus in correctly. And then when you would take the shot, boom, it would actually use all the settings that you had set. So even if you had it at f22, which was really dark, you would still be able to half press your shutter and get it to open up at as wide as aperture, just so that you would let as much light in as possible. And there we go. All right, and we did it, guys. You know what? That was 9 different lenses that I totally forgot about. And keeping in the theme of forgetfulness, I forgot to get a Cities Go ready. My bad, guys. I'm just thinking about it. I was like, oh, in the Cities Go that I didn't even set up. But we're gonna call it. We did it, guys. Episode 131. Oh, I like this song too. Let's put it up a little bit. Thank you, as always, for hanging out here with me. Thank you for going on this memory lane run of my Manfrotto Forgotten Bag. It's a trip that I could forget like 9 different lenses, but here we are. And now I have something else to do, because with my newfound skills of 3D printing whichever parts that I want, I know that it's going to be no time by me taking some measurements and start making adapters for all of these. You know what? In place of cities gaw, I'm going to do something else. Let's go back to the overhead shot, right? Bam. And I'm going to show you my 3D print of the week. Okay, so I've been 3D printing a lot of things, but there's an attachment that I got to mess around with my camera rigs, which I'll show you right now. It's a handle. So this is a top handle from the company Suri. I never could. I think it's pronounced Sure, right? Sure, but I always mess it up because I read it, right? So Sure company came out with this top handle. Now I have quite a few that I've been messing around with. Hence, here's another one, right? And I think I got another one. Yeah, the other one's on the camera in the back over there. But this one was very particular, and even though I had like top handles, I said, like, you know what? I saw this one on Amazon. I'm like, I kind of need to buy it because of its versatility. Now, it's super cool because it actually has a built-in magnet, you know, like, I guess, little hex wrench that's used for like the majority of all of these. And the reason why it carries one with it is because there's a particular joint right here which makes this handle different from the rest. So as you can see, if you don't have this 3/8/16, you know, adapted size hole on your camera rigs, and you wanted to use this handle with something different like a NATO rail, well, that's possible. Not ruin the surprise. I'm gonna use it right now to show you why. Don't spoil the surprise, Luis. All right. So this is what it came with in the box. So even though it has the standard 3/8/16 adapted like handle onto it, right? It also came with this NATO rail adapter and the NATO rail itself. So you're able to attach this to your rig, and now you can NATO rail this, but you're like, that's not the handle. And that's where this is really cool, because this actually has a screw at the bottom that allows you to kind of swap that part in and out. So now if you want NATO rail, you just attach this to it, close it down, bam, and now you have a NATO rail handle, which is like super cool. You have both options. I think it was like $22 or something, $24. I was like, you know what? I like the versatility, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick it up. With doing that, right, it gives you even more options, because not only can you do that, but you can kind of like switch it up, right? You don't have to, you know, stick with the standard handles. You know, you might have a completely different design in your mind, and you'd be able to attach it or make it happen here with this system, because once that's locked in, you have the ability to, you know, kind of do whatever you want. And this being a NATO rail system allows you to kind of NATO rail this and use this as a handle for a variety of different things. What's up, Aiden? Give me a second. I'm almost done. Give me a second. 1 minute, okay? Hang out. So now what happens is that if you decide to use this handle with either or, you kind of have like an extra piece hanging around, and it gives me the ability to configure. So my mind starts racing with things like this and extra parts, which is most likely why I ended up picking this up, right? So I ended up attaching this and using this handle normally, right? But let me see if I can do it here. 1 second, Aiden. 1 second. Okay, to show you one of my rigs here, right? For this is the A7C Mark II, right? I wanted to attach this handle to it. Now I have the ability to just throw this here on top. And I have the handle, right? Lock it in. And now I have the top handle onto my rig. So if I'm using it here and I'm using it as such, I wanted to attach another handle here. And this cage right here has a NATO rail, built-in focus. Boop, boop, NATO right there. Perfect. So that's when my mind started racing, and I just grabbed this and threw it on here. And I was like, you know what? That fits really nice there. But now, what can I attach to this? And that's where my mind starts racing, because I have FCAD and I also have a 3D printer. So I got to work and I started making designs for my puck handles, which I had already created for my standard cages, right? These little round puck handles with the screws. And I just went and I got one of these adapter pieces. You know what? Let me grab the actual part to show you better. Where did I put my accessories? I thought that was going to be faster. I want to show you exactly the part that I use so you can see that it's reinforced. Okay, just focus. Okay, I wanted to give you a better visual of it, but as of right now, I'm just gonna go with it because I hope I can really show you what I did. There's these little double-sided 1/4-20 like connectors that I use off of my like magic arms. They usually come with like the clamps and all that stuff, and I'm in the process of moving. I have my little like tackle box filled with accessories, which I don't know what I did with right now, and I have a bunch of them that I could just show you exactly the part that I'm talking about. But it's just a little metal aluminum, like, and it's just a little nub that's 1/4-20 adapter, both sides, so that you can put two male and 1/4-20s together, and they come with the majority of like all of the, you know, like magic arms that allow you to rig things up everywhere. So I grabbed one of those, and that was the first thing that I put on here, right? And I just attached it to the 1/4-20, right? And as soon as I put it on there, I had like a little like metal nub with another 1/4-20 side, and that's what I actually designed this puck to actually fit in here. Now, the reason why I don't just take it out and show you is because there was a little bit of play with the screw and it only being mounted by one when I actually put it into use. Like, you know, you could kind of like rotate the screw right off and then it's loose, and I didn't want that. So before, while I was testing, all I did was actually put thread locker, right? And I just put the, you know, blue thread locker on this guy, so it's locked into place, and that's actually been able to hold it good enough for the time being. Now, I was thinking probably future iterations, probably just take this little aluminum nub and put epoxy on the inside and make sure that it's really on there, and kind of like set it and forget it. Right now, I just might add some super glue to the sides to see if it helps it, but as of right now, the thread locker here is been able to keep it in place and not give me too much problems. That's why I have not just taking it out to show you. But with that being set in place, now gives me the ability to just attach it here, lock it in place, ooh, if I could, right, and give it a little torque. Now that's locked in, like it's locked in. Save this back into the top handle, if I could. And now I have like top handle, side handle, and the side grip on my camera rig. And this thing, I can't tell you how solid this thing is ended up being now. I'm gonna go into what I was able to do with my A7C Mark II. As you can see, this is just a little preview of what I got going on, but I was able to make my rig out all 3D printed. Like, just that should be coming out soon. And another thing is that, guys, you can find my first official prints out now on my Fourth Wall website. First sets of Rig Junkie ultralight backs are available for the Alpha 6000 series, and this one's coming out very soon. And the next one is the FX3 FX30 line that I already have it there. It's just I need to take the pictures, do all the things, and then set it up so that people could actually purchase them. So that's all live on the Fourth Wall website. And I'm just excited for this new like venture because I'm having a blast creating these things. Like, here's another one. Here's another bonus, right? I made this grip extension for the small rig cage, and it just fits my hand perfectly. And it has transformed my A6100. I can't even tell you how much I enjoy holding this camera all the time right now, because I made a grip that's like designed for my hand. Like, you can't get more custom than custom for your hand, right? So for that reason, I've just been having a blast. And I'm always just glad that I have the crew hanging out here with me to, you know, indulge in all of this. So if you're still here, make sure to hit the like button. I always forget to remind people to do that. Subscribe if you haven't done it already. All the YouTube-y things, do it down there. 34 Media just said, gotta shoot, mate. Have a great week. Hey, I understand it is 15 past the hour. So those of you who are still here, thank you as always. For those of you catching the replay, you guys is what, like, I do this for you, you know. And the crew here hanging out every Saturday, it makes this my favorite place to be. And I love nerding out with you on all of these things. So I had a lot of fun going through my vintage lens neglected collection. My neglected collection. That should be on a shirt. The neglected collection. I said it 3 times. Now it's official. So as always, guys, thank you for hanging out here with me. You guys make this what it is. You guys make this my favorite place to hang out. So if you haven't gotten the drift, this is actually episode 131. And that is 831 consecutive weeks of the Camera Junkie live stream every single week without skipping a beat. And I thank you all as always for hanging out here with me. So take care of yourselves and each other. Actually, you know what? Let's rewind that. Mark it down on your calendars if you haven't done it already, to be sure to hang out here with me every Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Mr. Camera Junkie YouTube channel. So now Take care of yourselves and each other, and I can't wait to see all of your smiling faces right here next week when we do it all over again. And until then, talk to you.